Good afternoon. My name's Gerry Donaldson, and you've seen some of my YouTube videos and perhaps my DVDs on setting up a Citizens Grand Jury in your county. As you see above me, restoring America one county at a time. Well, I've got some questions today from people, and they're valid questions. As they always say, there's no such thing as a dumb question, except for the question that is not asked. So here's a couple of the questions, and I wanted to get to them because it's really important that people understand that this is a valid movement. The Citizens Grand Juries are completely legal, and we are within our rights. So I'm going to read a couple of these to you. Now, first of all, the Citizens Grand Juries are found in the the Fifth Amendment. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on presentment or indictment of a grand jury. That is where the power comes from. And we got to remember that Citizens Grand Juries are taking place in every courthouse across the nation right now. A Citizens Grand Jury is exactly the same process that if you get called out for jury duty and they put you on the Citizens Grand Jury and not the 12-man jury just for criminal trials, that is exactly the same process that this is. They're exactly the same. The only difference is a little over 100 years ago, what happened is that we would join together out of our own commitment in our communities. We would see a crime that had taken place, and everyone realized it was their duty to join up at the Citizens Grand Jury to hold people to account for their crimes, whether that be a robber, a murderer, or whether it be somebody that steals, or our public servants. Now, after a period of time, what happened was this. The people, like ourselves, neglected our power. We didn't show up. We didn't make it there. So the court is forced to have 25 people on a Citizens Grand Jury. So they started sending out jury notices. They tried to get the people together for either the Citizens Grand Jury or for criminal trials. And they would get the people in there. That's what they did. We've gotten used to the way that they've done it. However, the Citizens Grand Jury nor that 12-man jury has ever been part of our justice system in effect. It is not under the judicial branch. It is part of the citizens' power to control and make sure that our government obeyed the law and didn't infringe upon our rights. If we think about the Star Chambers in England, where they would pull together a court, basically a kangaroo court of people that they knew were going to vote, or to incriminate, call criminal an act of somebody that was, going against the government. So when they set up Citizens Grand Juries, it's the reason why it's not mentioned anywhere else in the Constitution, because it is restrictions on the government. It is not on our power. It is restrictions on the government. Now, the couple of questions that I answered, and I've got to be quick about this for YouTube, but one of the things that they said was, well, wait a minute. Some of the Citizens Grand Juries across the country that have come up to indict President Obama for lack of eligibility. He hasn't shown his long-form birth certificate and quite a few of the other documents that he required to have that he was a natural-born citizen of the United States. They even thought that, the President's Secret Service thought that natural-born citizen was a gray area. It's not at all. It's written down right there and everybody can see it. But many people have not. So this has been one of the issues. Well, I will tell you, the American Grand Jury, .org, they came out and really started this off. They really kind of jumped out there. They realized that they had this power and they tried to form them together. They did not put out legal notices. This is one of the things I pointed out to them. I said, you need to put this as an ad in the paper, pull your jurors from that, or else a judge or a prosecutor can say, well, wait a minute, this jury may be biased and therefore kick it back out. In our daily court systems right now, if the judge or prosecutor gets a case or something, an indictment or presentment from a Citizens Grand Jury, and they don't see that it may be not strong enough for whatever reason, whether it be Citizens Grand Jury bias or some other form of defect, they will kick it back to the Citizens Grand Jury to fix again, whether that be the same people that are on that jury or a newly formed one. So this is not a problem. It happens every day in our country. Now, we'll tell you, of the state Citizens Grand Juries that have indicted Obama, Ohio, those jurors were pulled from random, and they did not know that they were going to be judging our own president for his eligibility. So that is a completely valid indictment that has come down, and it is one that is definitely going to go to the top. And the reason why is because it's completely valid. It has no question. There is no defect in it at all. Now, a couple of the other questions I had was, like I said, the only defect was the method that some state grand juries had. Now, once an ad is placed in the local newspaper, this becomes legal notice of the forming of these juries and follows explicitly the manner in which these have been done in the past, as I just told you. The following are snippets from the instruction manual, which, by the way, is on my website at www.drawaline.org. We're making that available. I've got a 3 DVD set, high-quality DVDs that instruct you of this. In under 4 hours, you can have a citizens grand jury come together. You get your ad placed, get these people to show up. The 3-hour DVD will show you exactly how to set one of these up in your county, make it completely valid, so that when you go to a prosecutor, you know he's going to accept it and move forward with it. The 3-hour DVD will show you exactly how to set one of these up in your county, make it completely valid, so that when you go to a prosecutor, you know he's going to accept it and move forward with it. Okay. This gentleman says, well, wait a minute, these grand juries are not a component of the courts. No, they're not. They're the citizens. The reason why it's in the Constitution the way it is because it is not a part of government. Citizens grand juries are to protect the people from the government, from these kind of kangaroo courts that took place. So we have neglected our duty in this. We really have to. So the second thing is that juries definitely, they jumped the gun. I've already described that. Lastly, I'll address this one. And this gentleman, very intelligent, he's looking at what he's talking about. So I commend him for it, and I don't have his name in front of me. Specifically, Article 3, Section 1 states, quote unquote, the judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. Absolutely correct. The fact is that we've got the Supreme Court, and then we've all got the inferior courts down to the local and county courts, district courts. That's exactly correct. But remember, a grand jury, he says, a grand jury is a component of these courts. They are not. As I just described, these are part of the civil power and not part of the court power. They're not part of the legislative branch, the judicial branch, or the executive branch. We are the citizens, which is the fourth major branch of government. Most people don't realize that there's a fourth branch, but if you think about it, if we, the people, are the government, we have to have a check on the legislative, the judicial, and the executive. That's as simple as it is. We've neglected our rights. This is the reason why our country is in the shape it is right now. Okay, I'm going to go on to the next one. Like I said, it was just not within their constitutional authority. It's within the people's authority. Okay, now what follows is the first couple of pages. I'm going to read these real quick from the Citizens Grand Jury Instruction Manual that we're putting out for the counties so that it's step by step. This is easy to follow instructions. This is exactly what the courts would expect of you when you hand down a presentment or an indictment from your Citizens Grand Jury in your county. If you follow these procedures, you can't go wrong. But like I said, first snippet, just an introduction. It says, according to the Constitution, all Americans are sovereign and imbued with unalienable rights. That is, we the people hold all the power and authority. We delegate that authority and specific powers to our public servants at the local, county, state, and federal levels. Now, what has become blatantly absent is the willingness of the people to step up to their obligation to hold our public servants accountable to their oath of office in order to protect our rights and preserve the checks and balances of our Constitution. That's exactly what it is. The public servants, whether it be your mayor, city council, local police, sheriff, judges, magistrates, or state and federal representatives, will protect your rights and freedoms only if we hold them accountable to their oath of office. It's a conflict of interest for them to police for themselves and police themselves. It's for this reason that we've taken our responsibility and begun forming citizens' grand juries, picked randomly from our communities with the express purpose of holding our public servants accountable to their oath of office. And the special note here, I want to make this very clear. The citizens' grand jury is not to be used for the purpose of political debate. It is not about political parties or ideologies. It is an unbiased forum gathered from the citizens in our local communities that adheres to the principles of our founding fathers, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. Its sole purpose is to review evidence that a public servant has violated the oath of office and determine if there is enough evidence to proceed with a criminal case against that public servant.